3 minutes of playtime
is going on, everybody.
They're 0-2 and it's week 1.
We'll see.
The Steelers like to cover.
I cover my eyes when I watch the Steelers. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Morning Wood. We are your hosts. I'm Matthew. I'm joined with, as always, my good friend Jason.
Gang.
This is a sports show hosted by two idiots. We are those two idiots. And today we get to talk about the full football. Everything's back. College is back. NFL's back. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get into top of the morning news.
Top of that morning.
We're going to cover news around the leagues. Starting with the Jets linebacker, Hassan Riddick is holding out, looking for, I guess, a new contract. I don't know. I don't like it. He's an idiot. This is reminding me of a lot of Le'Veon Bell's holdout, which ended up being bad for everybody in that situation. Forget who it was on the Pat McAfee show talk about this, but not good. Not a good holdout. But in similar fashion, Jamar Chase on Wednesday walked out of practice. The superstar wide receiver for the Bengals looking for a deal. He did return to practice on Thursday, which was yesterday of when we're recording this. But I believe them and the Bengals are looking to get a deal done soon. I expect him to play very quickly. I don't think they're gonna want him to sit or anything.
He's gonna play.
He's definitely gonna play. They need to get that done so they can kind of just get that mess out of the way and focus on football. But I know he's looking for a deal. But speaking of new deals, we got some guys getting fat checks around the league. Fat checks around the league. We're starting with Trent Williams, the big left tackle, is ending his holdout, and they restructured him to a 3-year, $82 million deal that includes $48 million at signing, and then a $25.7 million signing bonus. He's going to earn $27.65 million a year, which is the most of any lineman, probably deserving. So Trent's a beast out there. So they got him, Ayuk, and McCaffrey all returning to practice, which is good news.
The 49ers are back.
They're back. That's good news. They got all that drama out of the way. Now they can just focus on football, and that's a good sign and sight if you're a 49er fan. Keeping it rolling with the contracts, Patrick Surtain gets a massive 4-year, $96 million contract. He's now the highest paid DB in NFL history. I'm a big fan of Pat.
Deserved.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Pat.
Deserved.
I definitely
good for the Broncos locking him up.
Yeah, big contract. I have him like second, probably in the league at corner. He's a great player. So that's big for Denver. The next one and last one we're going to talk about is my team signs Cam Hayward to a 3-year, $45 million contract. 16 of it is fully guaranteed. The question that I have for some Steeler fans along with me is, does the 14-year vet deserve it? He's coming off a 2-sack season in 11 games. Interested to see how that goes. Again, a great veteran presence for us in the locker room. I just don't know if that's going to be a great signing, but we will see how that pans out throughout the year. That is most of the news that we've had in the last week around the NFL. Not too much going on in college, but we'll get into college in a little bit. But that's wrapping up top of the morning news. Jay, we're going to send it to you for the next segment we got.
Let's move on to the best segment on the internet, and that is the Antonio Brown tweet of the day.
Antonio Brown.
Who on social media, man? This is about us, nobody else, man.
We do have the Ravens and Chiefs playing. They played today. Let's get into it. Lamar and Derrick Henry, two-headed monster. Two-headed monster. AB is just different, bro. Look, I mean, if you don't follow Antonio Brown on X, if you don't have X, just get to follow Antonio Brown.
Guys, I recommend if you're having a bad day or any day, just scroll his Twitter and your life will change forever.
It will. If you're watching football, and you just got to check Twitter to see what AB is talking about, because it's probably electric.
It's insanity.
But yeah, it is actually crazy. This guy is, I don't even know. CTESPN.
Hashtag CTESPN. That is a great tweet. Hilarious tweet. He's not wrong. That Lamar Henry duo is going to be
They are going to be
problem.
good. They are going to be good. Speaking of, the Chiefs and the Ravens did play today. The Chiefs hold off my Ravens and win 27-20. Great football game if you were able to watch it. I'm sure if you're watching this podcast, you watched Thursday Night Football.
Was a great game.
Look at the box score a little bit. Lamar finished with 273 passing yards, a touchdown, and adding a 112 on the ground. Mahomes threw for 291, had one touchdown in that interception. Rashee Rice had 103 receiving yards on 7 receptions. He's going to be an issue for a lot of teams. And Isaiah Likely, maybe the new number 1 tight end in Baltimore. We'll see. He had 111 yards on 9 receptions. First reaction from me, and I hate to do it, is the refs. It was bad. I hate that that's the conversation, but I know at the end of the game, Lamar had opportunities to close that game out. I know the Ravens were going to go for 2 if they scored a touchdown there. You could see John Harbaugh when they thought it was a touchdown. He said 2-2. We're going for it. They had the opportunities, but a lot of drives, maybe if the penalties, it wasn't even. The game was not called evenly from my perspective. Come on.
Yeah.
Like the illegal formation penalties to start the game was crazy. Like
Everybody,
even if that was a penalty, like, okay, we're going to start the game like that, but the Chiefs never got called for illegal formation.
Yeah.
I just think it needs to be consistent. If that's going to be a call that the NFL is trying to push, that the tackles are not lined up in the backfield, it's got to be consistent both ways. Tough way to lose on the road. I did like the fight from the Ravens at the end of the game. We had a chance to tie it or win it, but the refs, man, it was tough for me. But what are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just as a Steeler fan, so I didn't really have too much invested in this as far as a win-loss, but I thought it was a great game. It was fun to watch, 2 MVP candidates go at it again. They did their thing. Lamar had a big game on the ground. It felt like every time they needed to play, he made one, breaking the pocket. And then obviously Mahomes is and will always be Mahomes. I do agree with you on the penalties. I think that at the start of the game, like you said, it was fine. But I know I saw on Twitter that they're trying to crack down on that and be more mindful of those penalties. But some of those false starts that could have been called for Kansas City, they weren't. There was a couple of things that kind of went back and forth that didn't really seem like they were even or fair. Hopefully they kind of button that up and get better with that throughout the season. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts for the game.
Yeah, I think just to wrap it up for me, Rashee Rice looked really good. I mean, when there's a linebacker, there should never be a linebacker on Rashee Rice. I think he was just cooking our linebackers in coverage the whole game. But I like the way the Ravens responded on the road against the defending Super Bowl champs in a game that I feel like the refs were not calling completely consistent. So just to wrap that up, we can move on to some college football for the week.
Yeah, let's get into it. Week 1 is in the books for college football. We moved on from week 0. Week 1 is now done. To look back at last week of our picks, I went 3-2. Jason went 2-3. The only thing we switched on was the Miami and the Florida game. Miami did come out on top. Also looking back at my prediction on FSU is just getting better and better every week. FSU season is now done. They're done.
They're 0-2 and it's week 1. It's chalked for them.
They're done. FSU, throw the backups in, get the young guys some playing time because what are your thoughts? Is that a big surprise? I mean, obviously for me, I was dead wrong. It's a huge surprise for me, but FSU, how do you think?
This week against Boston College, I know
crazy loss.
It's bad. It's so bad. And DJ, you didn't play well, but the Florida State defensive line that was supposed to be
multiple draft picks.
This top defensive line in college football. Where are they? I don't see them. They're done. FSU's done.
Yeah,
We won't talk about them for the rest of the season.
Their season's chalked. It was a good 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wish y'all the best in the transfer portal
GGs.
and next year.
Yep.
Moving on, the Miami Hurricanes, the U,
U.
came out, looked strong in
They're
the
back.
swamp. Is the U back is the question. I've seen that a lot on Twitter. I'm not going to jump the gun, and it's my team.
They're all the way back.
I'm not going to jump the gun and say that we're back
No,
yet, but
back.
we did look really good. Cam Ward is him. I wrote down 385 yards, 3 touchdowns. Did have a pick. It was kind of a 50-50 ball. It was tipped off the receiver's hands. Not the best decision, but overall, other than that, he played really good. And as a Miami Hurricane fan, it is very fun to watch a quarterback who actually looks comfortable back there and almost like, I don't want to say like nonchalant or like bored, but it looked like he had a lot of experience back there. And for a Miami quarterback, that's really good to see because we haven't had that in a very long time.
I think that win looks really good overall when you like look at Miami's schedule at the end of the season. Like go on the road against Florida, get a big win. So that's a big win for Miami.
Yeah, I had a prediction of us going 10-2 this year. This was before FSU fell off the rails, but FSU is looking tough, and then Georgia Tech, obviously the way they played week 1, and then we had some maybe like trap games with Duke and some other teams, but I still think the 10-2 prediction is fine, and I had him still making the playoffs at the 11th seed with our first episode. So I'm liking Miami. I don't know if we're back. A lot of people are saying that. We'll see, but like you said, favorable schedule moving forward, and that's a huge win. Moving on, Virginia Tech, your sleeper team, falls to Vanderbilt, the baseball school. What are your takes and thoughts on that one?
Just watching the game, like Virginia Tech's season kind of started at like halftime because they didn't show up for the first half. Like they were still on the bus.
They missed the bus.
They fall late. They go down 17-0 late in the second quarter to Vanderbilt. They did fight back. I think if you want to take some positives away from Virginia Tech, they did come back in the fourth quarter, score 2 touchdowns, tie it, go into OT. They just couldn't get it done in the extra time. So if you want to take some positives away, that is what it would be. They just can't. You can't fall. You can't go down 17-0 on the road and expect to come out with a win.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't care who you're playing. 17-0 deficit is rough, but they did have an opportunity to win it in overtime as well.
Yeah.
They
gave themselves a chance, but they couldn't get it done.
Yeah, they didn't get the job done in 2 different portions of the game, but we'll see. I mean, again, could be a team that develops and gets better throughout the season, but we'll see. Another game that we're going to touch on a little bit is the West Virginia hosting Penn State. A lot of people were high on West Virginia in that game. I think just with the atmosphere that they had going into the weekend, a lot of people were high on West Virginia to even pull off the upset. But Penn State comes in, takes care of business, and looks like a legit Big Ten contender. That quarterback, that offense looked good. Their defense looked good. I mean, they started a little slow, but in that second half, I mean, they pulled away. Penn State looked good. Any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, props to Penn State for coming in and doing what they're supposed to do to get that win. Hard place to play in Morgantown, but Penn State did their thing.
Yeah. Another interesting game was Oregon. Oregon looked awful at home, barely squeaked out the win.
Really sloppy plays, like a lot of penalties, bringing back big plays. But like you gotta clean that up. 10 points. I mean, that's bad.
Yeah, 10-point victory at home. Not a way to start for a Big Ten favorite for a lot of people. So interested to see how Oregon bounces back. LSU, Texas A&M, and Clemson, all ranked teams, lose. I think the biggest one is obviously Clemson. Looked horrible against Georgia. That first half was rough for both teams. Very, very slow start for both teams. But Clemson had plenty of opportunities against Georgia to get in that game offensively, and they did nothing. They held Georgia to 6 points defensively. That's a win in my book on the road, basically. And they offensively, they did nothing. Like I said last week, I think it was a huge game for Dabo. I'm not high on Dabo, especially the way college football is moving. That was not a good start to the season for them. And offensively, they got nothing going. They got nothing going with Phil Maffa, their quarterback. They had nothing. They didn't play well. And then Georgia, obviously, you give Kirby Smart, the best coach in college football, a whole halftime to kind of regroup, and they just came out and broke the brakes off of Clemson. So not a good week one for Clemson at all.
Yeah, it might be to move on to look at LSU. Brian Kelly this might be his last year at LSU. 3 straight week one losses. They haven't won a week one since 2019.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
not good.
I mean, they had opportunities in that game as well to shut out or to shut down USC, and they just didn't do it.
Yeah, Texas A&M, same thing. I mean, they had opportunities against Notre Dame. That was a close game for a little while, but Notre Dame obviously ended up pulling it out towards the end. But yeah, 3 ranked teams losing like that, not good. But getting off of the losses, we'll get into the standout performers. Old Miss and Jackson Dart, a 76-0 victory.
It's my boy Jackson Dart.
Yeah, he looked good. They looked good. I mean, I remember some of his throws. I mean, they were like literally like 60-yard handoffs. They were darts. Jackson Dart was throwing absolute darts out there. Yeah, Ole Miss takes care of business. Big win from Ole Miss, and that offense looked good. Alabama, Texas, and Ohio State also winning big. Alabama crushed Western Kentucky. I mean, they look like they didn't really miss a beat with all the noise that came into the season and the offseason with losing Nick Saban.
Hey, Kalen DeBoer offense. I mean, I know it's Western Kentucky, but 61 points.
No, I mean, look at Oregon. It don't matter who you're playing.
Yeah.
You know, that young receiver they got too. He's like 17 years old. That kid is going to be a stud this year. So be sure to look out for Alabama next week. But yeah, big wins across the board for those guys. That's pretty much the recap of the week. Again, a lot of interesting stuff going on in college.
It's my boys at College Park.
Oh, yes.
Putting the hurting on the Huskies.
We got Michigan.
Come on, son.
Maryland looking good.
Watch out for the Terps, baby.
They did. They looked good. They looked better than some of the ranked teams out there this week. Good
we
Lord.
Out here.
Yeah. Congrats to them. That's going to wrap up the recap of week one. But let's look ahead to
into the picks.
Week 2 picks for college football. Jay, you want to get us started with the first matchup?
Yeah, we got 5 decent games here. Starting off with Georgia Tech. They just cracked the top 25 at 23, going to Syracuse, which is a hard matchup.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to take Syracuse in this one. I like them at home. Kyle McCord coming over from Ohio State. Might have not been the best fit for them, but at Syracuse, he's kind of a weapon. So give me Syracuse against Georgia Tech.
Going with the home team. I like that. I'm going to take Georgia Tech. I think this is a close game, kind of a grit game. I'm going to take Georgia Tech slightly over Syracuse, but I do think this is not a game that they want to just, think that they're going to walk in and win on easily.
Syracuse they're nasty.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, I got Georgia Tech in that one, though.
Moving on to Texas, probably the biggest matchup of the week. Number 3, Texas goes to the Big House.
That Big House.
Michigan. Michigan drops some ranks this week to 10, but Texas at Michigan. I'm going to go with Texas. Michigan's offense did not look good in week 1. It might get ugly, honestly. That's how I'm feeling. I like Texas big.
Wow.
At Michigan.
Okay, I'm a bit on the opposite. I'm choosing Texas. I think they are gonna win this game. Michigan did lose a lot, players wise, coach wise. I think this will be a closer game than maybe what you're thinking, but I do have Texas winning this. Yeah, of the 2 teams, Texas obviously looked better last week. Michigan did not, and it could get ugly if they play like they did last week. Because
I don't think they can score with Texas.
Yeah. It's going to be a tough game. I do have Texas. We both have Texas winning that one, so
yeah,
we'll see how that goes. Next game we're going to get into is Baylor travels to Utah, number 11 Utah. In this game, I do have Utah winning. I think it might be by 2 possessions. I think Baylor could put up a good fight in this game. Could be a little bit of a trap game for Utah, but I do have Utah taking home this one.
Yeah, we agree on this one. I like Utah. I like Cam Rising. Threw for 5 tuds last week.
Yeah, he's a beast.
Give me the Utes.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be the one factor in that game. Tennessee, number 14, the next game goes to NC State, number 24, and this is my upset of the week.
Sound the alarms. Sound the alarms.
I have NC State on a last either ditch play or kick something. NC State always has one of these games where they beat a ranked team, whether on the road or at home, and I think this is the one that they do it on. I have NC State winning over Tennessee this week.
Okay. I'm gonna ride with the Vols. I'm gonna ride with Tennessee.
Okay.
Big win against Chattanooga, 69-3.
Yeah.
But obviously NC State is a more formidable opponent, but I still like the Volunteers in this one.
Yeah. Next one is Colorado at Nebraska. Obviously, Colorado didn't look great against North Dakota State. Looks like they still have a lot of problems that they need to fix. Will they bounce back and win? Will they button those things up and get the win on the road against Nebraska? No, they won't. I'm taking Nebraska to take care of Colorado this week. I still think the offensive line problems and the defense are just not going to be enough on the road against Nebraska. Again, a better opponent than North Dakota State. So give me Nebraska. Give me the Cornhuskers.
Yeah. Like, as much as I want Colorado to win this game, I think what's his name, the mini Patrick Mahomes, Dylan Raiola. He actually plays a lot like Patrick Mahomes.
He looks like him.
He looks like him, but he actually plays like him too.
Yeah.
Apparently, this is what he said. I don't know if it's true, if he's just making stuff up. The 15 is actually for Tim Tebow. That's what he said. We'll see. But I gotta take Nebraska at home here.
Yeah.
As much as I want to take Prime in the Buffs, I'm going to take Nebraska.
Yep. Agree. And last but not least, we are going with a little in-state rivalry game. Iowa State goes to Iowa, the Hawkeyes. I'm taking Iowa in this game. I think it's another close game. I think they usually have pretty close games. But I'm going to take the Iowa Hawkeyes in this one.
I am on the same side as you as well. I'm going to take Iowa. They scored 40 points last week. That's a high total for an Iowa offense. If they can actually score some points, I mean, they're not going to give up points. They're going to give up 10 or less a game.
Yeah.
If they can score more than 10, probably going to win.
Yeah.
Give me Iowa.
I like that that little talk about their offense, because normally, Iowa is normally known for their defense, but this year, I mean, if they have an offense that can score, that can be a little dangerous of a team right there.
Yeah.
Moving on to the matchup of the week, which we talked about a little bit, but Texas at Michigan. And breaking it down a little bit, like you said last week, Michigan, both coming off a win, but Texas looking a little bit better, which is why they're -7 on the road. Michigan, I don't know. Offensively, they didn't have a great win. Fresno State, Davis Warren, only 118 yards in the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Not great from the quarterback play. Obviously, Michigan was led by the run game yet again with Cleo Mullins. 92 yards on the ground, 15 carries, averaging 6.1 per carry. Definitely was the main factor of that offense. But again, Michigan, I don't know how they're going to be offensively. Again, we still got a couple weeks to figure out who they're going to look like and identity-wise, but the defense is not really much to worry about. 2 interceptions, 1 pick six. They held Fresno State to 2 for 11 on third down, which is insane. They're going to need that big time against Texas in that offense. I think that's the key matchup, is Michigan's defense versus Texas offense. If they can control it a little bit, if they can kind of tone that Longhorn offense down, I think they have a shot. But they're going to have to figure some stuff out offensively in the air, especially. They're not going to be able to just throw for 118 yards and beat Texas. But Texas, on the other hand, coming in, looked great. They handled business. Ewers coming into the week with 260 yards in the air, 3 touchdowns, went 20 for 27. They also had a great run game to balance it out for a total of 545 total yards from the Longhorns. So their offense, again, coming in looking good. Michigan's going to have to prepare well for that. But yeah, that's the key matchup for me. Texas's offense and Michigan's defense. Big game for the new coach. Big home game here. So, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I agree with you, but I'm also looking at it from the perspective: is Michigan going to score against Texas? I mean, they
Yeah.
only Warren only had, like you said, 118 yards through the air against Fresno State.
Crazy.
They scored 23 points on offense. They had a pick six at the end of the game. 3 field goals, 2 from 53 plus. That's not going to get it done against Texas.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I mean, their defense definitely has to show up, but I mean, if their offense just goes on the field and it's 3 and out, their defense is going to be on the field the entire game. So I think that is the key for me is Michigan's offense. Can they score enough points?
Yeah.
Even if their defense plays well, they can play well and still give up 20 points and lose.
Yeah.
So, interesting note here. This is the first time Michigan has been a home underdog since 2021, which they ended up winning, beating Ohio State.
Yeah.
So
that's crazy.
History's in their favor, but it's been 3 years since they've been a home underdog.
Yeah, they got the over-under at 42.5. I think they're expecting a little bit of a defensive game, which, again, I think Michigan, it's fine to think that way. But like you said, if they're not going to get anything offensively going, like you said in your pick, it could get ugly if Texas is rolling. Yeah. So they got a lot of work to do offensively. But overall, I think it'll be a pretty good game. Definitely the best matchup, and excited for that one. Yeah.
Let's take a look at the new rankings going into week 2 for college football. The first 2, Georgia and Ohio State, they don't change. Texas does move up a spot, and Alabama moves up a spot as well at 3 and 4. Notre Dame moves up 2 after their win against Texas A&M.
Yeah. Ole Miss hasn't moved, so that's the top. But the top 5, I agree with. I definitely think those are, definitely the 4 best. Notre Dame moving up 2. I mean, that was a good win on the road. We'll see how they look the rest of the year. Ole Miss again didn't move. Oregon fell 4 spots with that stinker they put up at home. I agree with that. Yeah. Surprised Penn State didn't really move at all. I think they could be over, in my opinion. I think they should be over Oregon and Ole Miss. I know Ole Miss looked great, but overall as a winning in West Virginia like that, I think they should have moved up. Then we got Missouri at 9 and Michigan at 10, rounding out the top 10. Missouri moves up 2 spots. Michigan does fall 1 spot. Again, not looking great against Fresno State. So any thoughts on the top 10 there?
No, I agree with you that Penn State not moving at all is a little interesting. And then I think Ole Miss staying at 6 is fine. But Oregon dropping 4 spots, I guess I agree with that as well.
Yeah.
Looking outside the top 10, Utah moves up to the 11th spot. Miami moves up 7 to the 12th.
Yeah, sure.
That's a big win in Florida. I think that's the right spot for them.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, and then USC, the biggest mover of the top 25, they move up 10 spots.
10 is crazy.
10 is a little crazy. Go ahead.
I mean, good win. Great win, obviously, against LSU. I don't know if it was a big enough statement win or anything for 10 spots, but maybe, hey, the AP polls high on USC. They're believers. But overall, right now, that's our playoff. Not USC. They don't crack it. But the top 12, I like that. Like you said, just outside, we got Tennessee. Again, my upset of the week alert, but they do move up 1, along with Oklahoma State, and Kansas State. They all move up 1. LSU falls in at 18 behind them. They fall 5 spots. Obviously, a big loss week 1. And then they are followed up with Kansas, Arizona, and Iowa moving up. Kansas moves up 3 spots. Arizona moves up 1, and Iowa jumps 4. Louisville and Georgia Tech are the new additions to the top 25. Obviously, Florida State is getting bounced out. So we got 2 newcomers. And then we got North Carolina State not moving. And then the biggest fall we have in the top 25 is Clemson throwing up that doo-doo game against Georgia. They fall all the way to 25th, moving down 11 spots. Overall, I think this is a great list. Again, maybe Penn State could have moved, but I think overall these aren't really too crazy.
Maybe dropping 11 for Clemson. I mean, it was Georgia, but I guess it's fine. I think they should be above Georgia Tech, maybe 22.
If Clemson played anyone from probably 19 to 24, I think they win.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would probably have them right behind like LSU, Kansas area. But overall, I'm happy with this.
Good.
Yeah. Shout out to the U. We moved up. We're in the playoffs.
So back.
If it if it ended today, we're playing for something that matters. So I'm happy with that. I'm definitely happy with that.
Gamble.
We have Jay's best bets, baby.
Let's bet. All right. Starting with college football week 2. Like I said earlier, I have Syracuse beating Georgia Tech at home. So, of course, I'm taking Syracuse and the points +3. Like I said, Kyle McCord, absolute weapon for the Orange. OK State -7.5 against Arkansas. I really like this OK State team. I'm going to be on them a lot this year. And then Boise State and Oregon over 60.5. Penalties last week took a lot of big plays away from Oregon. I think they cleaned that up. And Boise State and Georgia Southern combined for over 100 points last week. I think that game can soar over 60. And then I have a 4-leg parlay for +130. SMU money line, which is on Friday night. Oklahoma State money line. Maryland money line. Clemson money line. Just for over even money. But all 4 of those teams should get it done at home. Big, sort of not big favorites, but they are all favorites at home. Then moving to the NFL, week 1, we finally get to bet on a football slate. I have the Dolphins -3.5 against the Jags, Chargers -3 against the Raiders, and I'm taking the Rams and the points at Detroit and against the Lions. And some NFL player props that I really like. Saquon Barkley over 15.5 receiving yards. I think that line is way too low. Tony Pollard over 9.5 receiving yards. I think that line is also way too low. And then Josh Jacobs over 64.5 rushing yards against the Eagles in Brazil. So that is what I am gambling on this weekend.
Those are Jay's best bets. Those are all hitting, guaranteed, 100%. Lock them in.
Lock it in.
Also, if you haven't yet, download Underdog Fantasy. Use code WOOD when you sign up.
Get a $1,000 deposit match.
That's crazy.
You use code WOOD.
Please.
So you deposit $1,000, you get free $1,000 free bets, money.
We love free money around here.
We do.
That's his bets, and that's our look. That's our recap of last week. We're looking ahead. We got NFL week 1. We got college football week 2, and from now until January, we got football dang near every day. It's a great time. We're in the
Ravens are 0-1.
The Ravens are 0-1. That's such a tough way to lose, man. The foot on the line, the KD 3 foot on the line to win it.
At least on Sunday, I don't have to worry about the Ravens game. I can have a calm Sunday and just watch everybody else freak out about their team. I don't have to.
You could watch the Steelers look like garbanzo beans. Probably that's what we do usually.
Yeah, I almost took the Falcons in the 3. So, they usually like to cover.
We'll see.
The Steelers like to cover.
I cover my eyes when I watch the Steelers, though. We'll see how it goes. But, yeah, we got college football. We got NFL from now until forever. We are in the months that end in Burr. And those are the best months of the year. That's our episode. We love y'all. We're ending this, John. Football's back. I don't care about anything else. We'll see y'all on Tuesday. We're going to talk about everything. I don't know what I'm saying. We're idiots. I love you. Bye.